Yeah, so good evening, good morning to whoever is watching us throughout the world. And today we are here to actually present a case study on the NAFTA agreement that has been going on in between the three countries, that is Canada, USA, and Mexico. So today with me, I have Arya Kashyap, and with that we have Gulabuddin Bawer. So I would really like Arya and Gulabuddin to please introduce themselves to everyone.
Okay, thank you, Sayak. I hope you can hear me. All right, so good morning, everyone. I am Araya Kashyap. I am a student of Bachelors of Business Administration, and my specialization is international business, and I am from India. I am a co-founder of an NPO called BOUP along with Sayak, and I have participated in various business-related activities like quizzes, seminar, case study competitions, and all. So and I have also been a part of a student exchange program with the students of Belarus, where we teamed up together and did a company analysis while comparing their strategies and procedures in both of our countries. And I have worked as an intern and a part-timer on various fields like marketing advisor, campus ambassador, and a copywriter. I am really excited to be here because it is my very first guest speaking, so I hope I am able to deliver it well. Thank you. On to you, Gulabuddin.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Gulabuddin Bawer from Afghanistan. I have done my school in Afghanistan, Sharda University. Currently, I'm in third year, my final year. So I have attended many international conferences related to business, and hopefully I have participated in Amity University science competition. Thank you.
Sure. So thank you both of you for introducing yourselves. So I think we'll start with the case study, of course. So I will be sharing my screen, and I hope you all can see this. Please do confirm if you can see the screen. Aya, can
Yes,
you tell
yes.
me? Okay, sure. So yeah, so this is the case study
Yeah,
that
it's
we will be
visible.
looking at. Arya, can you just confirm if my connection is okay?
Yeah, it's working fine.
Okay, sure. So this case study is all about the Canadian dairy supply management, the trade threats. And moreover that this is an IVEY publishing, it's a business school, also known as the Western University Canada. So this whole case study is very special to me, Arya and Gulabuddin, because we have been working on this for the past few days and even I think weeks. And we have been working on it and we tried to take out as many informations as we can from this whole case study. And a big thanks to Dr. Vineet Gupta, sir, our professor from Sharda University, to give us this opportunity to actually work on this case study. And he has been a great help to us, and he has really given us a lot of time. And thanks once again to sir. So I think we can start this whole case study over. Over to Arya for the introduction of the case study.
Thank you, Sayak. So, yes, first of all, I would like to say good morning, everyone. Once again, we are here today to present a case study on Canadian dairy supply management and the trade threats. The case study provides a background to the NAFTA negotiations and an overview of the dairy supply management in Canada. And it also raises issues pertaining to the interactions between the economic policies and the political pressure. So, starting with following the elections of the Donald Trump as the president of the United States, the US government set out to modernize the North American Free Trade Agreement, threatening to revoke it as a new favorable deal was not reached with Canada and Mexico. Growing US demand placed Canadian officials under increasing pressures in their attempt to secure a new deal. In particular, the United States wanted to increase their access to the Canada's protected dairy supply management markets and was calling for the Canadian dairy supply management system to be dismantled completely. So the question arises, Why? The dairy farming industry of the Canada. Dairy farming was an important part of Canada's economy and farming activities, which contributed around 7 billion Canadian dollars to Canada's gross domestic product in the year 2017. The health of Canadian dairy industry, which depended on the supply management, was a concern of key political constituencies. The United States has reached a bilateral agreement with Mexico on the August 27, 2018, and the pressure was on Canada to comply with the demands or to face exiting NAFTA entirely. Domestically, supply management was a trade off between efficiency, appealing to voters, and equity. While internationally, Canada needed to balance domestic trade with international priorities. Chrystia Freeland, the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Canada, was the head of team negotiating the new NAFTA deal. She was considered she needed to consider these issues and determine how to address the supply management in the negotiations while cooperating with the strategic trade partners. While in this case study, we will further try to figure out the answer to the most prominent question in the whole case study, which was supply management worth jeopardizing the whole negotiation process? Exactly how much could Canada yield, and what were the implications? So, first of all, we need to know exactly about what exactly is the supply management system. Next slide, please, Sayak. Yeah, thank you. So earlier in 1960s, a nationwide concern regarding the lack of price stability in dairy, poultry, and egg industry was raised, which prompted the legislative actions. This was caused due to the price volatility, which was an undesired result of introduction of the new technological advancement in agriculture sector. With the continuous technological upgrades, there were severe cases of overproduction. So ultimately, ultimately, the price volatility plus the increase in the supply of the agriculture product, it enabled the processors to have to gain the bargaining power over the farmers. This led to lower product prices and lower overall incomes of the farmer. This environment filled with price volatility and income fluctuations um, led to an emergence of need of supply management system. With the help of Canadian Dairy Commissions, which was a crown corporation created in 1966 as the governing body responsible for the dairy supply management, and the Farm Product Agencies Act, which was established in 1972, together created a set of provincial market boards. These boards were tasked with implementing the supply management, and the supply management system consisted of three main pillars: production control, import control, and pricing mechanism. So let's head over to the production control. Production control to control price and manage the dairy supply nationally, quotas were used in a really strict manner. So a farm quota was essentially a government license which allowed farmers to produce a given amount of commodity. The farms were allowed to trade the quotas within the given provinces under the strict instruction that the total national quota should remain controlled. To ensure that there is an adherence of these quotas, really strict penalties were um, enforced for either it's for underproduction or overproduction. So to control the prices, the Canadian Milk Supply Management Committee first set the national quota. Then this national production level was determined based on the aggregate provincial demands, which was forecasted based on the historical demands, population growths, and other market characteristics. Second, import controls. Since Canada has a really globalized economy, import control has to be imposed to ensure that there was no influx of international goods coming from the influencing domestic dairy market. These controls ensured that the supply management could be effectively implemented, enabling the domestic dairy industry to operate under a controlled supply management system. Canada used a tariff rate quota mechanism that was to restrict the dairy imports into the Canada. This three prolonged mechanism consisted of two tariffs and one quota. Together, it was known as tariff rate quota. A small amount of dairy could be imported with a less tax, I mean low taxes, but additional imports in excess of this minimum level were charged with over rates that could go up to like 200%. This this was like so high, like it could discourage imports of additional units. In 2017, the Canada imported around $873 million worth dairy products from the international producers. Of this, the Canada's import from United States constituted of around $471 million. And third, the last part I would be talking about is the pricing mechanism. This is the third main pillar for this whole supply management system. So, under the supply management system, the farmers got a guaranteed price for their commodities. The provincial market boards negotiated with the farmer to set a minimum dairy price, which was based on the production cost, consumer demand, price of the competing products, and other market dynamics. The board then would set up a price that and then determine the quality of a product. The production level or the supply that would enable farmers to receive these set prices while taking into account of consumer production decisions or demand. With the production level settling the quotas that would be assigned. This stability in pricing enabled farmers' income to remain secure while preventing consumer price volatility. So over to you, Gulabuddin.
Thank you. I'm Gulabuddin, and I will talk about the impacts of the supply management on farmers and consumers. The supply management system was important and beneficial for the farmers as it supports their income. As of previous years, the income of the dairy farmers increased and it continued. For example, in 2014, the average dairy farmer income was $144,674, while comparing to the Canadian household income, it's $70,336 in 2070. There is a huge difference, and obviously, it will cost to the consumers. There are a range of criticism about the supply management in Canada, and they are categorized into three groups. So the first one will be the economic based, the second is consumer based, and the third one is producers focused. On the basis of the economic base, the policies reduce the competition and contribute to the ineffectiveness in the system, and it could interfere in free market price signal. And policies limit the market expansion opportunities. In the consumer focus, supply management policies are unfair for consumer because consumer should not pay unfairly inflated prices. And the last one is producer focus. In this section, policies create high entry costs due to new producer who must pay for the quota. Market opportunities are restricted because relationship between the producers and the processors are less in the value chains. Can you change the slide? Sek, could you change the slide?
I have changed the slide. Can you see it?
Yeah. The NAFTA, its full form is the North American Free Trade Agreement. So it was basically implemented on the 1st January 1994 between Canada, United States of America, and Mexico. According to the Article 102, NAFTA's objectives were to eliminate barriers between the three countries and to improve the trade between three countries and increase stability, investment opportunities, fair competition in the free trade. There were certain industry-specific exemptions for countries on the agreement. So, for example, Canada itself pursued protection for its music, film, and television industry. So, through that, government can support their domestic industries. When it comes to agriculture industry, the goal was to cooperate between the three countries to reduce the tariffs and improves the uh, trade between them. Because of that, the Canadian government was able to secure specific agriculture provisions to protect its agriculture sectors. So it was permitted to maintain tariffs on the dairy, poultry, and eggs, allowing Canada to continue with the supply management system. The last topic I will talk about is the criticism of the NAFTA. So we heard a lot about the benefits and advantages of the NAFTA. So and there is a free trade between the countries. So let's hear what were the criticism behind the NAFTA that would disadvantage the countries. The first criticism goes with NAFTA lead to the loss of United States of America manufacturing jobs. So the NAFTA lead to the manufacturing jobs as a reason to criticize NAFTA and be wary of future trade deals. According to the CFR, the US auto sector lost roughly 350,000 jobs between 1994 and 2016. Many of those jobs were taken up by workers in Mexico, where the auto sector added over 400,000 jobs in the same period. The second criticism is the NAFTA hurt the economic prospects of Mexican small farmers and small business owners. So the NAFTA look at the impact the trade deal has had on the small farmers in Mexico, many of whom were unable to compete with larger agribusinesses in the wake of agreement. Some of the country's family-owned farmers folded and farmers went to work in factories. The third one is that NAFTA suppressed wage for non-college educated workers in the United States of America. While the manufacturing sector of United States economy suffered the heaviest job losses in the wake of NAFTA, wage decrease in many other sectors that don't require workers to have a college degree. So the last criticism would go with NAFTA's environmental and labor standards could have been higher. I over it to the Sayak Sarkar.
Thank you, Gulab. So continuing from Gulab, what Gulab said, so I'm going to present the third part, that is the free trade impacts then and now. So we're talking about the past and the present of what NAFTA looks like right now. So in 2018, the export comprised around 30% of Canada's total GDP, and moreover that the imports were around 33%. Considering the overall results of the trade liberalization in the North America and generally being in the position, uh, Canada was always in a position of being the actual hurdle in the whole NAFTA agreement. And moreover that, this also stemmed from a relocation of the resources from the less to the more efficient farms. And moreover that, while the low productivity farms were negatively affected by the free trade agreement, the NAFTA, and they literally shrank away from the market, and the high productivity farms grew and prospered. So the next topic that I'm going to take is I think is the most important topic of the whole case study, that is the renegotiation. And that is what everybody is talking about today. The renegotiation of NAFTA. In 2018, Donald Trump was elected as the president of US, and Trump criticizes NAFTA and voted to repeal it in a new or a fairer agreement, which was not being able to do until like Trump was there as the president. The Office of the US Trade Representative indicated an intention to modernize, or maybe kind of like what to say, like kind of modernize or kind of manipulate the original agreement and protect the US interest. So, in this whole story, or the whole case study, we have always come to see that these three countries have always been into three different positions. But of course, Canada and US used to shift up the positions from negative and positive, and Mexico has always been in the neutral. So, having this mentioned, so as the negotiation continued, they started negotiating about the whole NAFTA agreement, and it was very clear that the actual thing that US or Mexico wanted was the Canada's protected dairy market, and it was their prime target. The US and Mexico wanted a greater access to the Canadian dairy market through the Canada's tariff rate quotas. So I don't know how many of you are already aware of the term called tariff, but like Canadian's tariff, the Canada's tariff for the dairy market is actually very strict, and it was already implemented in a lot ago into the like a lot ago than at least NAFTA was created. And the impact on the dairy industry of Canada was obvious because this was a whole like situation where US and Mexico wanted a greater access to Canada's dairy farming or the dairy production. Any amendments to the quota or tariffs to allow more foreign imports would impact the bottom line of dairy farmers, and particularly where they are based are the two particular like cities in the whole Canada, that is Ontario and Quebec, and these are the most like boat-rich province. And of course, this also comes up with the point that yes, these kind of tariffs or these kind of amendments can also have a lot of political influence. And moreover, that of course, the negotiation between the three countries has been undergoing for a year now. But the US and Mexico have always been in a balanced way, and they have already undergone a bilateral agreement. The next talk on the NAFTA is very, very, very sensitive, and I think it is of very great significance because that will somehow the other decide what is the fate of Canada's dairy farming or the dairy industry. And I think this is how we are going to end this whole case study. And moreover that, of course, you people with any of the questions, please come up and we are ready to answer it. And of course, we will also bring up some discussions as well. Over to anyone who wants to ask a question. Do we have any questions? Anyone from the audience? Jerome, Nilama, anyone? Okay, we might be that good that nobody has any questions. So maybe they understood really what we were trying to say. So I would now like to say something in the interest of the organization that we are actually being like in the platform of that. What is this whole case study has to do with entrepreneurs, or what is this whole case study has to do with the small business owners? Uh, for sure, these kind of trade agreements that we have often seen in daily life, we always come to hear in news is that there are some new agreements that have been continued, or there are some new agreements which are actually coming into play. So these kind of agreements, of course, affects the whole base system of the economy of a country. Just like what we were talking about in this case study, that Canada's direct impact would have been there if the foreign import comes up for the dairy market. And of course, it will happen if Canada again jumps back into the NAFTA agreement. But now, till now, there hasn't been any issues or hasn't been any news about this that they are jumping back for the trade agreement. But yes, so entrepreneurs or the small businessmen, of course, they are directly affected by these kind of agreements. And it's very necessary for each and every entrepreneur to keep a very keen eye on what is going on with these agreements, let it be India or any country. Here we didn't talk about India anyhow. It was all about the three countries, that is US, Mexico, and Canada. And these three countries has the biggest economies, of course. US and Canada, they were the first, I think, the developed countries, and they have shown the other countries a path of how economic development has been growing on. But keeping all those things in mind, of course, every entrepreneur has to keep a very keen and a very selective eye on these kind of news, because these kind of news can actually impact them to have their small business turn into a very big and a massive industry. But also at the same time, it can also bring them down to a point that they cannot survive. Over to Arya if she has any last comments or any conclusory comments to give.
Thank you, Sayak, but I think you have said most of the thing that I would have loved to say. So yes, that's all for us. So if anyone have any questions, or if they're okay with us asking some questions to them.
Over to Gulabuddin, maybe. Do you have any conclusory statements you want to give? Any comment that you want to add to what I said?
Actually, I'm really want to say thankful of and gratitude from this opportunity they have given us. So I'm really proud of that. So I just want to say that hope this is helpful for the others. So if they learn that a small thing, even the small thing,
Yeah, sure, sure. Why not? And I think I will take this hint from Gulab and say that thank you, Vishal sir, and thank you the whole LWT organization for giving us this platform to perform this. And moreover that, of course, we have been going through this case study for a long time, and we wanted really to show something and let everyone know about this actual whole agreement that has been going on for several years, because this is something that people should really look at, because these are not small things that we oftenly see around. These are like big agreements that are happening between some countries or nations, and this actually varies, or this actually links up to lots of factors, political factors. There are lots of economical factors. There are a lot of like what to say, like the whole economy of country can go down from these kind of decisions. And of course, why don't we hear something from Gulabuddin about, as he's from Afghanistan. So do Afghanistan has any free trade agreements or any kind of amendments with any countries? And would you like to tell us something about like that?
Yeah, there is of course trade agreement. It's called TAPO. Uh, and T is for Turkmenistan, A is for Afghanistan, P is for Pakistan, and I is for India. That was signed in 2006. It was started on 2016, so implemented on 2017 between these four countries, especially on the electricity parts. So it started from Turkmenistan, so they'll come after that Afghanistan, then Pakistan, and India. So and that will helpful for four countries, for all the countries who are included in this agreement. So um, that is the agreement that Afghanistan included. There are another agreement. So this one is the most important, that was implemented on 2016. So it's continued till now, and that was so great for the economy of the four countries.
Yeah, that I think this is a very interesting like thing that you picked up, because it also involves India. Yeah, thank you for giving us this. And moreover that, of course, Arya, would you like to comment anything on this? Do you want to add on any other Indian trade agreements that you're aware of, or any other trade agreements that Arya, I think you were talking something about the Canada being already in lots of agreement before the NAFTA came up with the European countries. So would you like to comment anything on that, or just go on with any trade agreement that you're aware of?
Yeah, I think like the one you're saying, with the European one. So I think you might have misheard it that time, but that's not what I meant. So back then, actually, I was explaining as to why the USA wanted to go into the supply management system of the Canada. The one of the things that I found out in the internet was that the people of the US, they were consuming milk less and less, and they were consuming more of the what do you call that, other dairy products like cheese and butters and all these things, but they were actually drinking milk less. So the USA wanted to export this whole milk that was being produced somehow, and the obviously, since it's in milk, it's an agricultural products, it all comes in here. So it would be really easy for him if they can just trade it for the next nearby nation. So, and that is why they really wanted to focus on Canada to open up their supply management system so that they can export and give a relief to their farmers in the USA.
Yeah, see, like as I was telling, that there are a lot of factors which are involved in these kind of agreements. We can also see one other example which just popped into my mind, that is the Paris Agreement for the climate change. And we just saw that Donald Trump, in the period of 5 years, has actually came out of the Paris Agreement. And as soon as he was removed from the power, and now Joe Biden is there, he has again joined the agreement. So these are some things like which are really, really necessary, because like these kind of agreements are totally based on several factors, and each of the factors are a very, very, very like what to say, a very dependent factor, because each factor can act, like if there are five factors and any one of the factors is anyhow violated, or anyhow like taken out of the agreement, the whole agreement falls down. And I think this is one of the best example that we can see, that how political influence or political factor can play a very important role in these kind of agreements. So I think we are done for today, and we had a great time here. I think Arya and Gulabuddin, thanks to both of you for being with me here, and we really,
Thank you
I
for
hope we
inviting
did a
us,
good job.
actually.
Yeah, and,
Yeah.
I don't know if somebody from the audience can come up and say something about Huron. Would you like to say something, or just give us a comment, or maybe criticize us if we were bad? Huron, if you are here.
Yeah, no, I think this was a very good session. I really enjoyed it. And of course, I learned something from it. I am hoping for some other sessions as well.
Sure, sure, sure. Thank you. Thanks a lot, Yoram. And moreover that, thanks to everyone who have joined here us, and thanks to mom and dad as well. They have always been a big source of encouragement for me. Thanks for joining up. And over to Vishal sir. So, would you like to say or comment anything on our presentation?
It was all good. Thank you very much for having this on our platform. So, yeah, thank you, everyone.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
Have a good night. So, ending the session now. Thank you.